Hello and welcome back to the Cellblock Scorch. This is week 231B, and I'm Cricket here to record my winning piece. The prompt this week was given by Octo, and it was, "Grudges are much like potato chips. You can't just have one." And I need you to know that I did a bunch of research for this piece, and as part of that research, I discovered that the earliest known recipes, like in cookbooks, for potato chips, or, what essentially is basically a potato chip, early 1800s, we're talking like 1817, 1825, which means potato chips existed long before that, which works just fine, because my piece is set mid-1800s, but I really went down a little rabbit hole there just to make sure I could have this potato chip line and it wouldn't be an anachronism, and it's not. So, with all that in mind, I would like to read for you my piece, Anna's Grudges. In the end, Anna and Lathan do not have their happily ever after, and that's when it really begins. Anna loved him, she really did, and he loved her too, but you cannot always have your mother's opinion about everything. I don't want to keep fighting about this. Baking is a perfectly respectable profession, and I'm good at it, and I don't like hearing you always talk about it that way. Anna looks back months later and realizes that what he didn't say was that when she demeaned baking, she was also demeaning him. She never meant to hurt Lathan, but she hadn't been a very good partner in their courtship. In her defense, her only other prior relationship experience was with the prince, whom her mother had enchanted to want to marry her. That had been an insane few days, before Anna's stepsister Ella overcame the enchantment and helped the prince realize that it was her he was really in love with. In the end, Anna hadn't wanted to stand in the way of their love at all. But her mother and her sister were furious at her for throwing away their future and letting the prince escape. Never mind that he was a whole adult man who was wildly in love with her stepsister, and now they got invited to parties at the palace, which was a step up from their former status as somewhat socially estranged poor nobility. Ella was more generous with Mother and Anna and Izzy than they probably deserved, although Anna kept those thoughts to herself. Her mother still angles for her and Izzy to marry rich, to marry up, and Anna doesn't want to let her down. That's part of the reason why it doesn't work out with Lathan. It's been a year since Lathan, and Anna is still a little hung up on him, which her mother and her sister do not know. Izzy would never stop making fun of her for that. Mother dresses them up and takes them to parties, and every time Anna is interested in someone, Mother ruins the conversation or makes Anna so nervous that she does something incredibly embarrassing or rude. Izzy is months into a courtship with a duke who is old and ugly and ridiculously wealthy. If she wants to be a third wife, Anna supposes that is up to her, but she doesn't want that life. So Mother keeps interfering, and it doesn't work out with Carl, or Max, or Rudolph, and Anna doesn't know what to do anymore. Ella is sympathetic, but Anna doesn't really know if she gets it. Ella was always independent, and nothing Mother did ever seemed to wear her down, and she met the charming prince, fell in love, and got married within about 48 hours, and the honeymoon phase shows no signs of ending, even a year later. Finally, after Erich, a perfectly lovely tailor's apprentice, is chased off by one of Mother's rants, Anna can't take it any longer. "You have to stop ruining my life, Mother!" Anna is aware that crying and shouting is not appealing and will definitely make Mother dismiss her quicker, but she's more upset than she's ever been. "I need to do what makes me happy, even if that means marrying someone you think isn't worth it. Erich would have been able to take care of me. It would have been a good life." Mother scoffs, hardly looking up from her embroidery. "Really, Anastasia, you're behaving disgracefully. I only want what's best for you, after all." Anna starts to protest, but Mother cuts her off again. "We can discuss this when you're less hysterical. Honestly, the way you comport yourself sometimes," she sniffs, "it's truly unbecoming of a lady such as yourself." Anna lets out a short, stifled scream of frustration and storms out of the room. Izzy just laughs when Anna explains that Mother has run off another of her suitors. Well, she says, if you would only show your interest to someone befitting your station, she shrugs and trails off. Like your Duke? Anna says bitterly, and Izzy grins triumphantly. Yes, like my Duke. He'll take good care of Mother and me, you know, and look at this beautiful necklace he's gifted me. It's hideous, gaudy, but rather full of jewels. 2 years ago, Anna probably would have liked it too, but she spent too much time now around Ella's understated elegance and the unassuming beauty of regular people in the city to be much impressed by strings of wealth. Anyway, Izzy continues, I think you're still just mad about Lathan. You can't hold that grudge forever. Tears rise to Anna's eyes, and she blinks furiously to hold them back. I can hold as many grudges as I like. You know what Mother says. Grudges are like potato chips, Izzy says, and Anna joins to finish. You can't have just one. Izzy titters in a way that should be girlish and demure, but just grates on Anna's nerves. It's true that Mother says that, but you shouldn't be holding grudges against her. She's only trying to help. You ought to be holding grudges against all the men who have wasted your time and attention just to drop you when it became inconvenient for them to stand up for you. Izzy's never going to get it, Anna realizes, and she slips off to her bedroom to cry. Maybe she'll feel better after a good cry. Still, it is so frustrating to think of all the ways Mother has ruined her life and made her feel awful, and there doesn't appear to be any solution to it. In desperation, she sobs, I wish I could go somewhere Mother could never influence my life again. A gentle voice asks, Do you really mean that, Schatz? Yes, Anna sobs. Yes, I do. Well then, the woman says, I think I can make that happen. There's a pause and some rustling sounds, and Anna looks up just in time to see the woman. Ella's fairy godmother, she realizes, raise her wand and mumble her catchphrase, and then suddenly, there is a blinding light, the sound of sparkles, the sensation of falling upwards, and then complete stillness. Anna comes to herself on a coast that isn't familiar to her. The sand is coarse, but the sun is pleasant. She picks herself up and starts walking until she finds a small cottage. She straightens her dress and fixes her hair as best she can without a mirror, and then knocks. When the fisherwoman opens the door and greets Anna, friendly but cautious, Anna is relieved to realize they're speaking the same language. What brings you here, Schnuckel? I don't think I've seen you here before. I'm not from here, Anna answers cautiously. I'm not sure how I got here, or where here is. Oh no, you poor thing! The woman ushers Anna inside. I'm Liesel. Do you know your name? Anna, she answers dazedly, looking around at the cottage. It's small, but well-loved and cared for. Anna, welcome, Liesel says. Now, I wonder if you didn't shipwreck in the storm we just had and maybe hit your head, and that's why you're not sure what's happening. But we can look after you. It's me and my Wilhelmina here, until you figure things out. And if you never do, we'll set you up. So Anna settles into a comfortable life with Liesel and Wilhelmina. They live a few miles from the nearest village, but no one there recognizes Anna or her family name, so she stays on with Liesel. Back at home, she had gotten good at chores and cooking since Ella left them, and she puts those skills to use. Liesel helps, and sometimes Anna goes out fishing with her on the days Wilhelmina stays home. Aside from Ella and her prince, Anna has never seen two people as in love as Liesel and Wilhelmina. Anna still hopes to fall in love someday, and she wants to be the kind of partner that they are for each other. None of the boys from the village, or the girls for that matter, now that she knows that's an option, catch her attention, but she finds she's less worried about marriage than she ever was back when she lived in her mother's house. One day when they go into the village, there's a proclamation from the castle declaring that the king has died, and the coronation for the prince will be taking place in 1 month. Anna looks at the date on the official proclamation hung up in the town square and can't believe it. She takes care of the rest of her errands and then comes back to stare at it again. It's apparently the early 1840s, 20 years before Anastasia was even born. Mother would be a toddler. Certainly no one in any position to impact her life, ever. Anna laughed delightedly. Magic was more powerful than she had ever realized. Time passes slow in the fishing village, but it's a pace that Anna adjusts to, and before she knows it, a year has gone by. Liesel and Wilhelmina have long since stopped asking questions about Anna's family and hometown, and Anna doesn't bring them up either. She's happy, happier than she has been in a long time. One day, Anna is walking along the shore looking for shells. She's not paying much attention to where she is going, too interested in the treasures at her feet. A beautiful pale pink shell catches her eye, long and folded perfectly. She reaches for it and she touches hands with someone else who is reaching for it as well, and a shock runs through her. "I'm sorry," Anna apologizes, looking up and meeting the gaze of a pleasant man. "I didn't see you." "The fault is mine," he assures her, a jovial smile breaking over his face. "Here." He hands her the shell, and she takes it. When their fingers brush, it feels like lightning, and Anna wants to know more. "Thank you," she says. "Would you mind walking with me a while and looking for more?" "I would be delighted," he answers. And Anna is too.
Hey, it's Octa with Judge Comments. I don't have a lot to say about this piece. I really liked it. It's super cute. It's like a nice, soft little epilogue for one of the evil stepsisters of Cinderella, which is nice. It also is like a stealth fake for the Disney Cinderella trilogy, which is hilarious if you know what it is. Would suggest watching the third one. I've never watched the second one. But it really came out of left field. Before the end, where they actually, like, meet the guy on the seashore, and if you've watched the third one, you know what's up with that. But I thought it was just a little Cinderella thing. I didn't think it was actually, like, a specific Cinderella. It was wild. So that's why it won. I actually, like, got a lot of fanfictions this week. I guess it's just a fanfiction sort of prompt. And they're both delightful also, the ones I didn't pick. Would recommend going to read them. And basically, I just really like Cricket's cute style here, so Cricket won. Hope you all have a great day. Keep that fire burning.
Okay. So that was my Scorch. I had such a fun time writing this one. Pretty close to when I had written it. We had gone down like a rabbit hole of like the Disney Cinderella movies. The first movie is, the classic fairy tale of Cinderella. The second Cinderella movie is a series of short little stories, just kind of like vignettes from Cinderella's life after the movie. And in one of them, her stepsister Anastasia falls in love with this baker in the town, and he's never named. And he is Lathan, who Anna have a breakup with at the beginning of this. This is a Disney Cinderella fanfiction, by the way. Here we are. In Cinderella 3, which I think we had watched pretty close to me writing this. Pretty sure we watched the whole thing. And there's a whole plot. They steal the fairy godmother's wand. They try to, basically change the course of history to make Anastasia marry the prince instead. This does not work out. But crucially, during this time period, which also, it never happens, but like, it would have happened basically during the first movie. Anyway, during that third movie, there's an interaction with the king where he shows a picture of his wife and he talks about how they met, which is the scene at the very end of this piece. And his wife looks exactly like Anastasia, and it was like, that's crazy. And then I was like, well, when you consider the fact that we know the fairy godmother's wand has time travel capabilities, I don't see why I can't just send Anastasia back in time and make her be the queen. Which is an insane thing to think. So I had that idea bouncing around in my head, and then I got this prompt about the potato chips, and for some reason I felt like it just fit so well, or I just really wanted to write this. That's why I researched potato chips. I also was researching the time period and the setting for Disney's Cinderella, and it seems to be like mid-1800s and probably France, but then there's a whole bunch of but France in the mid-1800s, it doesn't even make sense, they didn't even have royalty, blah, 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 and I was like, you know who is nearby that has a lot of similar fairy tales and a lot of similar cultural things is the region we now call Germany, which in the mid-1800s was doing its best and was not the country that we recognize today, but whatever. They had a lot of royalty of various, little countries and regions and things all kicking about, and I said to myself, I could just make them German. And all of the names that I use for people in this piece, I mean, other than Anastasia and Drizella, and Cinderella, can't help it, they have names. But all of the other names were like German names from that time period. I looked them all up. This is the research that I did. When were potato chips invented? When is Disney's Cinderella movie probably set? Mid-1800s. What are German names from that time period that I can give to my random characters that I need to name? But truly, I had so much fun writing this one, and I think it's just very fun and amusing to think about. Another thing that really delights me about this silly time travel shenanigan that I got to do is that Anna wishes to go somewhere where her mother can't influence her anymore. And, like, she succeeds in that, and then also she is going to fall in love with and marry the new king of this land. To me, it's just like poetic justice that Anna is in fact going to do exactly what her mom wants, that is marry rich and marry up, and her mother will have no idea. She will never see it. This will never be knowledge that she has. This is the thing that is sad. She has this nice friendship with Ella, and unfortunately that friendship is just going to end a little bit early. But on the other hand, Anna got to live a really beautiful, happy life. But I like to imagine that she like writes a little letter to Cinderella and like leaves it with the king and is like, deliver this to our son and his wife on their 5th wedding anniversary. And it's just like, by the way, I was happy. I was so happy. And that's how this works out. So Cinderella will get to live with peace in her heart about Anastasia's disappearance, but nobody else will. Well, she'll probably tell the prince. It's okay. But yeah, I like the idea that she fulfills exactly what her mother wants her to do, but far away from her mother in a place that she can't reach her and can't benefit from it. And it's great. I hope you all enjoyed my stealth Disney Cinderella series fanfiction featuring time travel. And before I send you on your merry way, I have to give you the prompt I gave my group. And that prompt was, the world's gonna end in slow motion. I hope you look forward to that and keep those fires burning.
The Cellblock Scorch is a production of Stellacore, an independent group of nerds sharing their obsessions with the world. We can be reached at thestellacore@gmail.com, through comments on your podcast platform of choice, our Instagram, Stella_core, and at our YouTube, also called Stellacore. Feel free to check out our other productions on our YouTube channel or our cosplays on Instagram. If you would like to support our creative endeavors, you can give a one-time tip to the Ko-Fi of the writer of your favorite Scorches, or check out our Patreon, linked in the show notes. There, you can access the winning Scorches and episode transcripts for free, or sign up for Spark level support for $5 a month to gain access to all of the Scorch submissions.